subscribe, support, stay positive.
Crap, I need my Santa hat. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is another back. To another electrifying episode of Tommy Talks. So tonight we are talking about professional wrestling, and I've sent millions of messages to Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin promised me he would come on my show tonight and let me interview him again. But hopefully he's going to come on tonight and I can interview him. I have my MCs here, all my MCs, and also Mr. Razma. Gucci. Just tickling Mr. Razma's head, and also touching, poking Anthony, and Eddie Explores poking him, also poking soft parts in Mark Hyder's head. Oops, there's not many soft parts. I forgot he's not a baby. And trying to feel the mustache of Mr. Sega Cam Gamer, but that, oh my God, what the heck is that? The Canadian bitter bug. Ew. What's a Canadian bitter bug?
Hey, Tommy. I keep this thing perfectly clean, okay? There's no bugs in this thing.
Okay, folks, one thing I want to say is go check out the Joe Cronin show. One thing you should know about Joe Cronin is kind of like on a, he's doing his channel, but there's two links. One is to the Joe Cronin show, and one is to his other channel that he is ultimately doing the Joe Cronin show because YouTube suspended him because of some stupidity and some stupid stuff. But the Joe Cronin, check him out. He's all about professional wrestling. Every time Monday Night Raw is over, and every time Vince McMahon burps out, he thinks he burps out this amazing product. He actually doesn't. So the fact that Joe Cronin goes after him and he pounds the living snot out of Vince McMahon's product, and he reviews the heck out of it with his team. And they may think differently of me, but I think those guys are awesome. Joe Cronin's team, you're awesome if you're watching tonight. So if he hops in here...
You may never know, Tommy. He may even despise CM Punk.
Yes, he actually does not. He doesn't like CM Punk because CM Punk, ran off. He was fired after marrying AJ Lee, and he was trying to get off. So they ended up firing CM Punk, and then Punk left and went to UFC. So let's see if Punk can actually take it in the UFC, and let's see how long he takes until he runs out of the after he gets like cauliflower ears, and he's just like, ouch, ouch. I'm gonna do what I did in WWE, and I'm gonna cry like a big baby and run off like I did last time with WWE.
Hey, see? Both of you have something in common, at least.
Okay, so back in the day, there was a product called WCW, and back when the Monday Night Wars were going on between two different brands, WWF and WCW. WCW were like two pit bulls going at each other's neck. WCW was better in the ratings, but WWE was falling in the ratings. At the same time, they were going after each other neck and neck. Every single Monday night, they would come on and show a good show. And the fact was, you know who they had? They had none other than the beast in himself, Bill Goldberg. And Bill Goldberg was on top of his game, winning every single match. And I believe WCW would have been a good product if it hadn't been for their wallet. Their checkbook, if you know what I mean. They went bankrupt, and Vince McMahon went in there and bought the company, ultimately taking their company and just like ripping it apart and making it into the pile of nonsense that it is today, making WCW look horrible, and the WWE Network losing viewers, which I think was because of the Undertaker match of WrestleMania 30. So WrestleMania 31. What's going to happen at WrestleMania 31? And what's the prediction? You know, I really don't know. But the fact is, folks, this is Tommy Talks, and this is our discussion. And wrestling, now, is wrestling fake? What do you guys think?
Hey, Tommy, check this out. I got WrestleMania 20 on DVD. WWF Royal Rumble in Atlanta, Georgia. And none other than Steve Nash. Bad Blood versus Triple H. Hell in a Cell.
So, guys, what's your opinion? That's pretty cool, Mr. Rasma. That's pretty cool. Honestly, I have a few WWE CDs are here somewhere in my collection. But what's your guys' opinion on if WWE is fake? And that, you know, my opinion, it's acrobatics. It's basically guys practicing with each other to get better at what they're doing, and they're paid millions, they're paid millions of dollars to do this product. And to be honest, sometimes, McMahon, in an interview, McMahon said this, and I didn't get to watch the whole interview. Stone Cold Steve Austin was interviewing Vince McMahon, the CEO of WWE. Now, everything that comes out of McMahon's mouth is kind of like what you say, crap. Because the reason why is when McMahon speaks, it's like he doesn't tell you the truth. He wants to tell you what you want to hear. And I believe if Stone Cold was not underneath the golden plates of WWE, which that's the heating pad that WWE puts all their superstars underneath, because you can't ask the real questions. And Stone Cold says, I'm going to ask the real questions. I'm not going to ask any stupid questions. But Vince says, basically Stone Cold says, he's like, why do you think none of these superstars are like getting out there and becoming big superstars? And Vince says, well, they're not reaching for the brass ring. None of them. And I don't think they're trying their best. I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me? You have a star like Roman Reigns, and you have several awesome superstars. For instance, one guy you've kind of chewed up and we haven't seen anymore, and that's, woo, 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 you know it, Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was an innovative, he was innovative. People kind of hated on him, but he was good. He had decent Twitter account. But what does WWE do? They push him back and they put him on NXT. They put him on Superstars, and I don't even know if he's been released from the company or not. But the fact is, folks, WWE has their own way of doing things. Wouldn't you guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Hey, Tommy, do you want to hear our opinions on...
Don't watch WWE as much as I do, but I was hoping to have on Joe Cronin. But Joe Cronin said to me, if you watch the episode of the Joe Cronin Show last Monday, you could see clearly Joe Cronin says, I'm going to come on, and then he terminates my call, and he definitely said he would come on, and, empty hands, but honestly, Joe Cronin, go check him out, support his channel, like his videos. And okay guys, who is one of your, I'm going to ask every one of you, okay, Anthony, who is your all-time favorite wrestler of WWE from WWF or WCW?
Includes The Undertaker. He's always been an Undertaker favorite of mine.
The big
But
favorite?
I'm old school wrestling.
Okay, what's your all-time favorite match of The Undertaker's, if you're a big fan of The Undertaker?
The Buried Alive match, 1999.
Which match was that? Was it the one where he first Mankind?
I don't think it was before then. I'm trying to remember. If I remember, it was between him and Mr. Sexy Boy.
Oh, you mean, are you talking about For the Streak?
Is that what he is now?
Well, no. The Streak is Undertaker's streak. Of course, currently, Brock Lesnar has that streak. And to this day, I hate this because McMahon shot himself in the foot, and there's speculations that the Undertaker himself has cancer. And you know, rumors go around a lot of times about superstars and wrestlers, and I'm not sure if he has cancer or not, but Joe Cronin would know this because he's the man with the inside fact. I said the inside fact also, and he says hashtag fact, but he's the man that is the Wrestling Man News. If he was here, it'd be epic to know if the Undertaker has.
I'm sorry. Is that where the inspiration came from? Keeping you on the inside fact? Is that where it came from?
No, it was just but something I would thought it was very catchy. It was very, it's always keeping you on the inside the fact of what I'm doing, and I don't care what people think if they think that who is hotter.
Now, Tommy, let's hear Eddie's favorite wrestler.
Okay, Eddie, who is your all-time favorite wrestler? Eddie?
I'm trying to think. God, there's so many, it's hard to pick just one. I'm going to go, though, with... if I have to pick one right now, I'll go with Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. What was your all-time favorite match of Mr. Perfect?
It's hard to think of a specific match, but I'll tell you why. Like, one of the reasons I like Mr. Perfect. He'd come out, and his hair's all, like, nice and tied back and stuff like that, and then he'd have a hell of a match. And by the time he'd get done with his match, like, his hair would be all puffed out and wild. like his strap would always be broken and hanging off and stuff, so... He always put on great matches, with Bret Hart. He put on a couple great matches with Shawn Michaels. Speaking of Bret Hart, I liked when he first started out. He started out in the Hart Foundation. Him and Jim Neidhart, they put on great matches.
What's interesting? That story is very controversial because to the end of his, it was kind of the beginning and the falling of his career. Him and McMahon were at each other's throats because of the whole, when it was in Canada, actually. And Sega Camp should probably know this because I don't know if this was in his hometown or not. But
I don't know.
it happened.
I lived in Milton.
You're what?
I actually I might have been living in Milton at the time, or maybe this was even when was this anyway?
Anthony, can you start? I know I should know this. I have a hard time remembering.
Because if it was in the 90s, I would have still lived in Milton at the time. And if it was before 1988, well, then I wasn't around at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember the stuff like late 90s, back when I was in high school.
Okay, Mark, can you search up the what year did Owen Hart? Bret the Hitman Hart lose the title?
I know. That was 1998, Tommy.
1998.
So yeah, I was still living in Milton at the time, and that was happening.
So that was the everybody keeps saying it's the something screw job. Like they basically what happened was in that match, basically the Hitman was supposed to go to WCW. His contract had expired, and in the middle of that match, as they're doing that match, Shawn Michaels puts a sharpshooter on the Hitman, and McMahon goes, "Ring the bell! Ring the bell! Bing, 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 bing." Screw job. Pretty much, he rings the bell, and the fact was, the Hitman, Bret the Hitman Hart, did not tap out. He clearly rung the bell so Shawn Michaels could win the title. Now, there was a lot of controversy in the backstage that Bret, and McMahon said, it's part of the language, folks, but this is what McMahon said, Bret screwed Bret. And technically, McMahon, it was your fault. Why? And a couple of years later, McMahon says, on a later episode of Monday Night Raw, down the road, Bret, you deserve to be screwed. Sorry about the language, folks, but I'm just saying this is what the exact words of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
That doesn't seem like that, Tommy.
Let me ask you something, Tommy.
Because of that.
Let's get everybody else's favorite wrestlers. We haven't gotten through the list yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just explaining the detail.
Hey, you want any salad?
I think Mark's
Okay.
next.
Who did I? Okay, Mark. I know you live in England. They come to London a lot. I know that when they go on their tours. But
when they're coming to us, it rarely gets advertised on TV. You never really see advertisement about it.
Just say the British Bulldog and be done with it.
all right, Sega Cam. Who is your all-time favorite wrestler?
That's the thing, Tommy. I don't really watch it. I never really grew up watching wrestling, and I never did know, and I really just don't know.
Okay.
It wasn't really my
Pass.
thing.
Okay.
Okay, The Rock. All right, there.
Okay.
It's done.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay. Mr. Rasman, who was
I'll
your
tell you what.
all-time favorite wrestler?
When I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of wrestling on TV. My favorite wrestler will always be Viva la Raza, Eddie Guerrero, man.
May he rest in peace. He.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of controversy behind professional wrestling and metabolic steroids.
Yeah.
And put those together, who do you have? Basically you have. I'm trying to remember his name. And I'm okay, folks. I'm kind of like a newbie. I've been into wrestling for a while, and I should know all the names. And I apologize. I'm not perfect. So the thing is that
I have a question for Tommy and how he would feel about this. A certain situation that's going on. You've heard about the recent disease of CM Punk and the reason why he was falsely fired?
why?
Because he has a life-threatening disease. How do you feel about that?
What's a life-threatening disease? Because is this true or is this falsified?
I heard it on the Completely Unnecessary podcast. Can't remember the name of the disease, but he has a disease that could be life-threatening and affecting his career. And because of it, he had to take some time off. And so he took some time off. They were going to fire him over it, but yet they didn't want to fire him because he had a lawsuit, and that's why he quit. Now he's with.
He's with UFC.
UFC, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. One thing is that people say, Tommy, why do you not like CM Punk? I have a personal vendetta against that man because he says this to everybody, but I happen to be at a show and he has a title around his waist, and I said to him, CM Punk, you don't deserve that title. And then I flipped him off. Now, people say, Tommy, that's not positive. What are you saying that for? Because CM Punk, the funny thing is, I was waiting for that other little weasel with him to come out. This was a show that wasn't recorded. And I was waiting for Paul Heyman to come out. Paul Heyman never came out. And I was like, dang it. I'm like, I wish he could have came out. I wanted to call him a freaking walrus. And, because that's what he is. He's this annoying little... Here's what he does. He comes out with people like Brock Lesnar, and then he backs whoever the biggest superstar is, and then he calls him a Paul Heyman guy. And basically, here comes Brock Lesnar out all big and all mercenary-ish, and basically this is Paul Heyman. How you doing there? This is my client, Brock Lesnar. He's what you call a parrot, and every time he comes out, and you think he's gonna get into a match, he says to one of the other wrestlers, Chris Jericho, Chris was gonna fight him this past Monday, and what does he say? here comes Brock Lesnar. But you know, the big thing that ticked me off about this week, this past Monday, here comes Brock Lesnar. He's the heavyweight WWE champion. No title. No freaking title. Cronin was mad about this personally. He was upset that the fact that basically that, you know, when you're the champion and you haven't been on television in a while, you walk out with the title. He doesn't come out with the title. He just comes out just like, yeah, I'm Brock Lesnar, and I'm going to come out with the title, and they're going to pay me over 20,000 grand. Watch this. Yeah, I'm going to give a German suplex, and towards the end of the show, and then McMahon basically slaps it on his shoulder and says, take it out there, kid. Take it out there. Brock Lesnar goes out with the title. He gives John Cena a German suplex. Now, here's the deal. My honest opinion. Now, people give John Cena crap all the time. My friend Hamza gives him crap because he's like, he's not a rapper anymore. I'm like, Hamza, that's not a real reason to give him crap. Here's the fact. John Cena is there every single night. Even though he has some of the most flimsy moves you could ever see in your life, the apple juice adjustment, the attitude, you know, he only has like a few moves. But basically, if I was to prefer anybody being the champ, Zack Ryder would be my choice. If I went on Monday Night Raw and I beat a wrestler, I wouldn't even take the title. I would call out another wrestler that would deserve it and give it to him and say, you defend this title, and you defend it as long as you can. That's what I would do. And people would say, yeah, Tommy and C2010 just gave that to you. And I'd say, I gave this to you, but it's your choice to keep it. If you lose it next Monday and I watch that show, I'll know that that you weren't up to the fight for it. But the fact is, people like John Cena, and just recently, Sting showed up at one of the pay-per-views. And my question is, where the heck is Sting? Where's Sting? He shows up once. One time. Are you telling me McMahon really did this? McMahon signed him for one night for a freaking pay-per-view? So, McMahon, come on! You're afraid of critics? You run the biggest wrestling corporation in history, and you're afraid of critics? Come on, McMahon. Take your panties off, man. Time to get some big boy pants. Honestly. That's what I'm saying to you, McMahon.
Basically, they're just running it right into the ground.
And here's what McMahon does. Honestly. McMahon, instead of leaving the pay-per-views like on DirecTV and Dish and Charter and every single TV network or cable industry, McMahon says, well, since I had the WWE network and I'm charging people $10 a month, we're not going to do that anymore. But what if people can't afford it? The people say, you can afford $10 a month. You know how much it is? Just exactly. It's $100. It's $120.
Tommy, but then it's like for some of the people that can't afford it, well then tough shit, I guess.
Watch your language.
Sorry,
I may have said that other stuff. People are gonna jump on my case like, why are you jumping on the second camp for cursing? You curse, Tommy, because it was quoted by McMahon. So that was the only reason I cursed.
I am quoted that too.
Let me think here. So, the fact is, folks, the current WWE product is rated PG-13. Rated PG. And here's the deal. Every show they start. Basically what they do is, I'm going to kick your ass, or I'm going to put my foot up your... And they've been cursing. They've been saying ass, butt, and all sorts of things. Is this the sign of WWE going back to the Attitude Era? And honestly, okay, I wasn't a fan of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a badass. That's what he is. I'm sorry. He is like a Samoan Superman, in my opinion. I think the guy is made of steel.
What's his name?
Gosh. What?
What's his name?
Roman Reigns.
Oh.
He is the cousin of The Rock. Now, can you imagine having the bloodline of The Rock? Now,
Tom, do you know who The Rock's dad was?
Who was The Rock's dad?
He was a very famous Samoan wrestler from the 1930s or 40s.
Can you imagine going into the WWF and saying, okay, here's the thing, Dwayne. He's like, yeah, we're going to send you out there. We're going to have you do a character. Everybody's going to be booing you. And the thing is, you have to fill your father's shoes. You have to make it as big as your father did. Can you imagine having to do something like that, have something so stressful like that to go in, especially, say, if I ever have a son someday, and I die, and somebody says to my son, or my daughter, or whatever I have, whenever I have a kid and I pass away, somebody says to him or her, you have to fill Tommy NC 2010's shoes, and you have to provide entertainment on his channel. And that'd be a lot of stress just to fill my shoes, because I have big shoes, size 13 and a half.
But that's a good point you raised, Tommy, that, you know, it can be a really hard thing, but also a very good source of inspiration to step into that role, right?
But just to say, folks, also, off again, check out the Joe Cronin Show, and check out his other channel. The link is in the description, in the bottom, both channel links, and you can check out both channels. Subscribe to his channel, and let him know that we wanted to have him on tonight, and that he had promised me that he was going to come on. But here's the thing, I'm not mad at him. People forget things. And Joe, if you want to make it up, you know, we could do an off-session show sometime and do an interview and talk about wrestling. This is the stuff I wanted to talk to you about, Joe. I wanted to talk about wrestling and your true opinions. And if you're listening, Joe, come in. Come on, Joe.
You know, the other day, Joe actually added me to his circles on Google Plus.
Dude.
What'd you say?
I don't even really know him, but he added me to his circles on Google Plus.
Really? Joe Cronin?
Yeah, I think when he does that, it keeps people updated on his stuff.
Okay, that's nice. I'm glad that Joe said he watches some of my stuff. And, you know, it's the foundation of professional wrestling leads back to Greco-Roman wrestling and Vince McMahon Sr. And Vince McMahon Sr. ran it differently than his son. And when he died, Jr. took over. And that's when he blew it up on the networks. He went to pay-per-views, and I've watched documentaries on how McMahon exploded into the industry and just absolutely put the name WWF out there. And then, what does he do? He makes the Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley, you know, just Cactus Jack, Dude Love, who else? And The Rock, and the man with no balls, as I call him, before he became a suit, Triple H, Hunter Hearns Hensley. What other wrestlers am I missing are from the Attitude Era? Eddie Guerrero?
Undertaker,
big time in the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I'm having a hard time naming names.
Goldberg.
Goldberg came in after the Attitude Era. He kind of towards the mid-era.
I see.
Hold on a second. I have some wrestling figures over here. Just a second. I have some figures here. Just a second. Sorry, I'm just going to get these together. So I have a certain amount of figures here.
Can't forget Mick Foley.
Just a second. Oh, my mouth is dry. Aha. Okay. Here's my big box of
Whoa,
action figures.
that is a big box.
First one. Shoot. Okay.
Oh yeah, and soon Tommy's gonna make videos of them fighting.
Nah, I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet, Anthony.
Looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Nope. Look at his arm. That's Bill Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
This guy apparently was called the Atom Bomb.
Oh yes.
That's
Wrath.
another. That's actually another wrestler I know of though. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He went on to
Adam
act.
Bomb, aka Wrath.
Sting.
King.
Mr. One-Timer Sting. If anybody remembers this guy.
Hey Tommy,
Yes.
what do you think Vince McMahon should look at YouTube as a platform for wrestling?
Yes, but I don't think Vince McMahon looks at anything besides his... This is the whole selection here, folks. This is all the selections of figures right here that I have all together.
Oh, that is.
That's a good collection.
That's a pretty big collection there, Tommy.
Yes, it is. I even have a homemade version of Harvey Two-Face that's made from Scarface, which I made that mistake, which I should have never done. And rest in peace, or Ultimate Warrior.
He's a very classic wrestler. May he rest in peace.
Kane, but that's all the figures right there I have. Put that over here. So, a lot of people have always said, a lot of wrestlers have always said that McMahon basically told them if they didn't wrestle and they had an injury, that he would fire them. And what do you guys think about that? Do you think that's wrong, how McMahon would run that and basically say, hey, if you don't wrestle, you know, you are just going to be fired and your career is over with the WWF? What do you guys think about that?
That's the nature of wrestling. It happens a lot.
I'm trying to remember the wrestler's name that he killed his family and killed his dog also.
Are you talking about Chris Benoit?
Chris Benoit. What do I have to say about Chris Benoit?
You fellow
And-
Canadian.
As they say, Chris Benoit, a lot of people say it was steroid use, and a lot of people, some people have told me it was head concussions. That 'cause back in the Attitude Era, they used to take straight chair shots to the head.
Wow.
So basically, can you imagine how many head concussions a night you could get from taking that many headshots to the head?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of punch drunk?
What?
Well, there's a term called punch drunk that people use to describe boxers because they get hit in the head so much. It seems like they're drunk all the time.
Yeah, like Rocky Balboa.
And that's basically what you're talking about with the head concussion thing.
Rocky Balboa.
Now, Chris Benoit, very interesting.
Maybe it's brisk.
I think this is quoted by Mike Tyson.
Adrian!
This is quoted by Mike Tyson. The harder you hit, the harder you get hit, the stronger you get. I think that's what Tyson said one time. And this is coming from the guy that bit off somebody's ear. Wait a minute, that was Muhammad Ali. that did that. He bit off somebody's ear. And then
It was, I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson bit somebody's ear off?
Well, it was Floyd Mayweather, wasn't it?
It was Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, that's his name, Evander Holyfield.
Okay, what are some of the comments, guys?
Well, there's just been one comment this whole entire evening.
What's that? Is that a troll comment or just a regular comment?
It's actually supportive. Just shout out to Tommy NC 2010. Less Tommy Tyson here. Keep up the good work, Tommy, and I'll keep watching. From Donnie Don't.
Is there any other comments tonight?
No, it's just been quiet here in the comments section.
I wonder why.
How many viewers?
Everybody knows that
Just
Tommy
7
talks.
years so far. 8
Everybody
now.
knows that.
Yeah. One more is always good.
Yeah, Tommy, you know this is the last Tommy Talks before Christmas.
Yes, folks.
Yeah, we got a Christmas special marathon.
So by the time the next Tommy Talks comes out, we'll all be steeped in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it'll be New Year's next. And that means Tommy will see you next year.
You guys do realize, though, there is one more week before the new year, right?
Yeah. Look at Tommy's Christmas. It's got a dingleberry on it. Tommy's Santa hat has a dingleberry.
Reminds me of a Who hat.
Bahu Dore, Bahu Dore, welcome, welcome, Christmas Day. You know, I thought of something. The Grinch could have done something simple, and it's very bad, but I thought of this. If the Grinch wanted to get rid of the Who's, he could have just purchased a bazooka, and he could have been like, yes, get a little closer, a little closer. Yes, there you are.
Oh, yes,
Who's.
yes, just with the rocket launcher, just sneaks in right through with that little scope, and he's like,
Bahu Dore, Bahu. My heart is
Christmas is destroyed.
Yes, but the fact is that then he would be like,
What? And then right afterwards, after he does that, that theme song comes on. You wanna be one? Mr. Grinch. You got
Me.
or so. I don't know the song how it goes.
besides that's even copywritten.
Your smile today, you guys.
But, guys, okay, the Christmas season is. By the way, Merry Christmas to you all. I don't think there's gonna be a Tommy Talks on Christmas. Don't want to take people away from their families. But,
Tommy, you wanna go mention something special?
boing.
Okay, well, if no one's watching, my birthday is tomorrow, guys.
Alright. Yeah.
Happy Sega Cam to you. Happy Sega Cam to you. Happy Sega Cam and possibly Wear Camp. Happy Sega Cam to you.
I thought he was going to kiss him for a minute.
This would be Sega Cam. I'd be like, and he's like, ew.
Ugh, gross! That is sick!
Don't want to kiss cooties.
That would be one of those wet kisses. It'd be like, God. Oh, jeez. You know, but back to the topic. Go check out Joe Cronin, support his channel, and go like, and if you like him, put the condom on your thumb, and as he says, stick it right up his butt. As he says. That's what Joe Cronin says when he does his show, if you like his show. I do like him, I support his channel, and major shout out to his team. You're awesome, guys. I don't know if they like me very much, but Mark, what was that topic that you sent me on Facebook? What was that about? About wrestling?
Oh, the second one or the first one?
The first one.
Oh.
fake. And it's fixed. That's it.
It's acrobatics.
It's talking about. I need to read the article.
That was Sega Camp giving you the inside fact there for a second.
WWE Hall of Fame reported injured during the last Night Pro Wrestling event.
Who was injured?
It says, it says Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
All right, it is now time for the part of Tommy Talks where we all get a snack and we review it. Tommy Talks snack reviews. No, I'm just kidding.
You sure that's not Sega Camps? You sure that's not Sega Camps?
Yeah.
What? What?
What Anthony's got?
Oh. I actually had an idea since we're not doing, first impressions and whatever it was before. We should all get a snack and call it Tommy Talks Snacks Reviews. We get to eat at the end of the show.
Just a second. I have a particular snack. I think
I do. There's actually
Although
one.
Sega Camp would like this. Super Mario Gummies.
Now this one question is unrelated, but can I
I've
ask
had them. They're
for a
good.
minute to Tommy? I think it might be best if I actually explain about this one, if that's okay for a minute.
Explain.
There's a question here in the comments section. Oh, here.
What was the question?
I'll say it in a minute when Tommy returns. Something about, did you guys hear about the movie being canceled, known as The Interview?
Yes.
That's what it's about.
North Korean controversy.
Okay. Folks, here's a review of the snack. It's called Peppermint Bark. And
Whoa.
That stuff is great, Tommy. I had some last week.
Speaking of off-topicness for a minute, Tommy, there's actually a question on the comments section that I was actually thinking about answering.
what's that?
Well, like I said, this is a little off-topic, but it says, Tommy, as a film enthusiast, what is your opinion of the hacking of Sony and the canceling of the Interview release? I was actually thinking about giving my own little opinion, if that's okay.
Well, okay, here's the deal. Sony and that company stuck a revolver in their mouth when they involved a realistic country and they involved a realistic leader. And what are you going to think is going to happen when you involve a realistic country and a realistic leader? You could have just called him Kim Jong Doomembadaber or Kim Jong Hoobop or Kim Jong Shu, or you could have called it El Samaro Korea.
It's not the first time that it's happened in film history. Even recently in the 90s, there was the Hunt for Red October, and that was about the Soviets trying to attack the United States of America in some extent.
Yeah, and let's not forget, there was a recreation of Pearl Harbor years after, but it was like, but it should have like
but anyway,
just a two-parter video, and it was talking, and it showed him, and it was.
I don't think that there's been anything that's so blatantly making fun of another country. Like, this movie's obviously poking fun at North Korea. You know what I mean?
They've been picking on North Korea for years, though.
Very true. But like, this is a major motion picture that was very hyped up in media.
Excuse me.
He's getting in the jolly spirit over there at that Christmas food.
Hey, Tommy, I thought I'd read out another comment for you. Someone said who their favorite wrestler is. They said Rey Mysterio. Favorite wrestler of all. Very entertaining.
You know,
Oh, yes, that's right. I see that here in the comment section now.
Rey Mysterio is interesting. But he's another wrestler that had the title for 1 minute. And McMahon basically sent one of his big wrestlers out there and beat the snot out of Rey Mysterio. And basically, here's the image. You have this tiny wrestler, and then you have the Big Show come out and go, BAM! And then 1, 2, 3. 1 minute. And that's McMahon. That's McMahon saying, no. We can't have people like Rey Mysterio, champion. That tells you an image that McMahon does not want wrestlers like high flyers as his champions, because Daniel Bryan was a high flyer. And look where he is right now. Currently, he has he's had a neck surgery, and we all know what happened with Edge. Edge lives here in Nashville, and you know what it is? He had a neck injury. He was a high flyer. He was a risk taker. And he was champion several times. McMahon just said, okay, you're a high flyer, but I'll let you be the champion like a few times. I'll manipulate you. Don't worry, you know. And look where the greatest high flyer is right now. Retired, and he lives here in Asheville. And anybody's going to ask, no, I have not bumped into him. I do have a picture of him because somebody took a picture of him.
Tommy, which wrestler?
It's a picture of Edge, and he's here at a place called Tyson's Furniture.
Oh.
And I don't think I have it on my wall here, but it's somewhere in my books. It's a picture of Edge going like this with his arms crossed, and he is at Tyson's Furniture getting to furniture. But, you know, as far as everything else, WWE is one of the companies that is, you know, more noticed. And there's Ring of Honor, and then there's, you know, TNA, which, I mean, it's wrestling. It's the TNA, Dixie Carter, Envision. Now, WCW, back on the subject of WCW, to be honest, it was a good product. It was straight, it was forward, and everybody says, they asked this question on the Joe Cronin show to me, Tommy, you say that WCW was straight wrestling, but what was the NWO? You know, the NWO was the New World Order. That's who the NWO was. They were crazy, but they were straight wrestlers. They came out, they attacked people, and it almost became a cult, almost like to different wrestlers. They absorbed. They could not be defeated. They were just like, there was like an infection of cancer was the NWO, and basically what killed the NWO was Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and when he bought WCW, he took in the New World Order, and then he went, New World Order. And then, you know what he did with WCW? He's like, hello, WCW. Let me do you a favor.
I will give you an offer you can't refuse. And it's modern bread dough from the Godfather.
Just
I
a
will
second.
make you the offer. You will not refuse.
Oh, WCW wrestlers, Booker T, Goldberg, back of the line, folks. What? Can you dig it, sucker? Yeah, I can dig it, sucker. Get in the back of the line. Okay. I am Vincent Kennedy McMahon. What could I give you? Can I give you... I have WWF wrestlers, and now I have WCW wrestlers. What am I going to give you? These first. You know, then, you know, Goldberg and all the other guys came into WWE after World Wildlife Federation sued the crap out of McMahon, and he was just like, oh, well, what do we call ourselves? WWE? Okay.
Hey, you know what's funny about that is that I think it was a marketing scheme too, because it moved it one place up in the market share listing, because E is one letter before F, so it put it one step before the WWF.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that the whole Monday Night Wars were rigged, and it's a conspiracy, but it's interesting to say what is true and what's not true. And if you sat McMahon down and you said, McMahon, tell me the truth about every single wrestler that you messed up their career. It was basically their fault. Wrong, McMahon. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth, McMahon. First of all, quit splashing me with water. Tell me the truth, McMahon. Tell me the truth.
Where's he getting all that water cups from?
WCW brand name. Every single cup that I saved. How about that? The urine of WCW.
You should just have a cup with every wrestler's name on. Vince McMahon screwed over.
Oh, yes. And how can I not forget about... You know who would be an awesome wrestler in the WWE?
Who's that?
Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin versus Hunter Hearns Helmsley. Hunter Hearns Helmsley. I think that's his name. That would be an epic match of proportion. And if you go to YouTube, you can watch Joe Cronin versus the Bear. Check out Joe Cronin, folks. Put that condom on your thumb and stick it up his butt. And like his videos. Subscribe to his channel. Go to his other YouTube channel and subscribe to him. He may have been busy tonight, but here's a fact. He is Joe Cronin, and he's ripping apart wrestling every bit, piece by piece, because he is Joe Cronin. Here on YouTube. Hashtag fact.
That was good. Hey, Tommy, you ever heard of reckless eating?
Who's that?
They're a YouTube channel that's very popular now for kind of eating challenges, but they used to do backyard wrestling.
Huh, really?
Yeah, they had their own wrestling league with different characters, and they'd set up shows in California.
You know,
Now they actually do eating reviews. I'm surprised you never heard of them.
Now, I have to ask you, Tommy, a wrestling thing. How do you feel about the Juggalo Wrestling Federation? JWC? Juggalos?
Just a second. I think I see something. Just a second, guys. Oh,
Please,
what about
man.
Brock Lesnar and WrestleMania 29? I mean, WrestleMania 31. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I just had to check this. The Juggalo Wrestling. What did I think about that? I really never watched it, and I only heard about it. I got into I listened to some of their music, and I've heard the FBI has investigated them for being a cult. But really, they're not a cult. It's just the people that listen to their music and use it as a cult. But you can't blame the people that sing the music because they're just singing the music on stage and making millions of dollars. Meanwhile, these juggalos are just kidnapping people and doing horrible things to them. But I just don't know about this topic because I haven't studied into it, but I shouldn't say things that I don't know about.
I've heard Hamza might be a juggalo. Do you know anything about that, Tommy? Is Hamza a juggalo?
He was the one that introduced me to that music and rap also. But you know, folks, I want to say thank you for all your likes. Thank you for the support of my channel, and you know, I'm going to work on a Christmas vlog at some point. 81 will be coming out at some point. I'll be working on 81. And I hope you can like and support the Food Dude Review Crew channel. And we thank you. We appreciate everything you guys done. And just to remind you, please go check out the Joe Cronin Show. Give him support. Tell him Tommy NC 2010 wants an interview, and he wants him to come on the show. And he promised me that he would come on tonight. But I know Joe is I know he's a father, I know he's a YouTuber and an entertainer, and that he's busy at all times. And I know he's probably away from the computer doing something with his lovely wife, which I know he's married because I've seen her in many things on the footage. And I hope that the Cronin family, I know they have another name, but I hope the Cronin family is doing well. And folks, this is Anthric Vlogs. He's been to Japan. This is Eddie Explores, Mr. Mark Hyder, Mr. Juggalo Mark Hyder, the Sinka Camp Gamer, and also into vlogging, Mr. Rasmus, Coochie. Ah!
Cough, cough,
Another-
cough, cough.
It's another bug from Canada. Ugh.
Yes, I'm another one of those.
Hey, Tommy, like I said, I keep this thing clean.
By the way, folks, Sega Camp's nickname, since he has the mustache, we call him Butt Naked.
It's starting to look like a.
Next year, Tommy, this is coming off.
Okay, folks,
Next year, this will be Abe.
check out the Joe Cronin Show. Like and support his channel. Check him out. Thank you for watching the show tonight, folks. As always, I'm Tommy NC 2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside. Fact.